So, hey, listen, you know better than anybody that Jerry likes to talk. And he's gotten really noisy over the last 2 weeks. My favorite part is when Aikman was critical. The next day, Jerry came out and said, boy, that's a credible guy there. We better listen to that guy. So when the noise is engulfing you, and you didn't deal with it maybe the first year with Jerry, he was doing business, but every year you'd hear more. How do you keep the locker room, Jimmy, quiet? How do you get out of that stuff?
Well, I think it really comes with the territory. If you're going to coach the Dallas Cowboys, you're going to have to expect, some distractions. You're going to have to expect on a weekly basis answering questions about what your owner said. So it really, like I said, I think McCarthy, he knew what he was getting into when he took the job. I think any coach that goes to the Dallas Cowboys, that's what they deal with. And it's really not even up for discussion. And that's what's going to happen.
There was a story this week about the facility and the tours. And, players wouldn't say it that were with the Cowboys, but ex-Cowboys were like, yeah, it's a bit of a zoo. I'm just trying to get a workout in. Listen, it's Jerry the marketer. I don't think any coach wants that. Again, it's not ideal. Would that drive you nuts?
Well, I'll give you a quick story. Jerry's was close friends with Prince Bandar, Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And so I had a rule, that, with the players, once I shut the door after the game, I'm talking to the team and nobody could get in. I got into it with Charles Haley when he was a little bit late. I wouldn't let him in the room. Well, I start talking to the team after the Chicago game at the end of the season, and we had just become the number one defense in the league. And Dave Wanstead and all that crew, they were so proud, and they were ready for me to congratulate the defense for being the number one defense in the league. And I was just about ready to talk, and there's a banging on the door of the locker room. And here comes Jerry with Prince Bandar and a whole entourage of people.
Oh, boy.
Wanting to hear my post-game talk. And so I looked at them and I looked at the team and I looked at our defensive coaches. I said, nice game. I'll see you Tuesday. And I walked off. And Dave said, he didn't even congratulate us for being number one defense. But that's what you deal with if you're at the Dallas Cowboys.
So, you live down close to Miami, and the Tua situation, here's what's a little baffling. If you're going to re-sign Tua, okay, but you better have a good backup, and you better have an offensive line. I've been critical of Miami, not necessarily just for the signing, but the places then you have to be good with Tua are O-line and backup. And is it fair to say they have not done enough due diligence regarding Tua's health, which Jimmy, we got to be honest about it. He's been hurt his whole career. We just have to be honest about this stuff. I think that's where you can criticize Miami. Is that fair?
Yeah, he was injured even at Alabama, and so you had to take that into account. But I think you can say about the same thing for every team about having a backup quarterback. In today's football, very rarely do you have a quarterback that's going to stay healthy the entire year. There have been a few exceptions, but for the most part, that backup quarterback's going to play. And if you've got a championship football team, you need a quality backup, at least somebody that's going to be able to execute and not get you beat, not turn the ball over. And so the backup has been a real concern, for the Dolphins. I think as far as upgrading the offensive line, they've had some problems there injury-wise. And then, it's where you allocate your money. They have put their money on their wide receivers and on their quarterback and a few of the running backs, the defensive backs. And so, maybe some of that money could have gone for the offensive line.
Yeah. I was saying this, Andy Reid had a Pro Bowler in Alex Smith, and he moved off him. And Sean McVay had Jared Goff, who's pretty damn good, and he moved off him. Pete Carroll, a defensive coach, is Geno Smith is good enough. And I've been critical of defensive coaches. I've said I've seen these offensive guys move off good quarterbacks. And I think Sam Darnold's good. But I watched Stafford last night, and I watched Jared Goff against Darnold last week, and he's not Goff and he's not Stafford. And I look at Minnesota going forward, Jimmy, and Sam's a good player. He's coachable. He's tough. But I watched that game last night, and I'm thinking, if you want to hoist a trophy, I think Kevin O'Connell may make a decision. What do you think? What would you do with Sam Darnold? Where do you go? Because he's good. We're not denying that.
Right.
What would you do?
I would try to re-sign him. I like Sam Darnold. I like him. I think he is a winning quarterback. Is he a great quarterback? No, he's not Patrick Mahomes. But nobody else is either. I think you can win with Sam Darnold. So how much money are you going to have to pay him? That's going to be a concern. You got J.J. McCarthy, but who knows how good he's going to be? He's a rookie, and we haven't really seen him prove himself on the NFL turf. So I'd try to re-sign Sam Darnold, and hopefully I can have Darnold and McCarthy both on our football team.
So Jaden Daniels has been great. Caleb Williams getting better. Bo Nix is winning games. Jordan Love, his second year starting, looks amazing. Jimmy, is the quarterback play getting better, or have the rules changed to help them? Because I'm seeing these young guys. Jaden Daniels looks like he's been in the league 9 years, and I'm thinking, is he great? He's obviously good. When you watch these quarterbacks, some of them are so good so fast. Is it just they're better, or is the league giving them a helping hand?
I think the league's giving them a helping hand for the simple reason, the rules are such that, it's hard to even touch them, without getting a penalty. The other thing is the rules are set for the passing game. And I think they're getting better coaching now.
Yeah.
There's some outstanding offensive coaches in the league right now. And the other thing is these offensive coaches, I think they're adapting the offense to the talent of the individual. You look at, with Washington, with Jaden Daniels, a lot of their offense is on play action, him running the football and taking advantage of his speed and his running ability. And so I think some of these offensive coaches have gone away from the pure drop back passer, and they've adapted, their offense to more of a college game. And I think that's what's allowing some of these, players to be successful.
I want to circle back to the Cowboys and the Niners. Listen, San Francisco is an older team. Juszczyk, Trent, Greenlaw's off an injury, George Kittle, and even the guys that aren't old, McCaffrey and Debo, are such physical players, Jimmy. They get banged up. Kyle's system is a physical system. And I said, if San Francisco loses, they're 3-5. No team's ever made the Super Bowl, and almost none have made the conference championship at 3-5. Almost none. Zero chance for the Super Bowl since 1990 when the playoff format was expanded. If they lose and Dallas wins and they're 3-5, when you're having lunch with John Lynch and you're Kyle Shanahan on Tuesday, do you have to have some thoughts about moving players at the deadline, getting younger? You're good, but Jimmy, windows close, as you know, so fast in this league. If San Francisco loses, what are the conversations you'd be having?
Well, it's going to be hard for the, coaching staff to say, hey, let's kind of look toward the future because we're 3-5. But the thing that I've seen, not only in professional football, but in collegiate football, if you've got a veteran team that's really been successful and you get off to a horrendous start, a lot of these old veterans, they don't have that burning desire, that a young team might have. And so sometimes it's difficult for them to overcome, that bad start. And I think with San Francisco's injuries right now, A lot of guys are not healthy. They're not going to be 100% healthy for the next few weeks. It's going to be difficult for them to turn it back around if they are 3-5.
I see the Chiefs got D-Hop. I see the Bills got Amari Cooper, Devontae Adams, Jets. Jimmy, did you like getting, at times expensive, sometimes they're noisy players, but whatever, they're all good. Were you a fan of trade deadline moves?
Yeah, I was always interested in trying to pick up a little spark on our football team, both in the off season and during the season. I think it not only helps your football team, I think it motivates the other individuals around them. I always like to bring in a new coach in the off season. I always like, bringing in players during the season because, hey, D-Hop, not only is he going to help that football team, he's going to motivate some of the younger guys that are playing with him. And so the other thing, I think it even gives you a little bit of a spark, for your really outstanding veteran players. I think it gives a spark to Patrick Mahomes. They've been winning with their defense, but we know how great Mahomes is. Having just a little bit of a boost for him, I think it helps their football team. And, I think as long as that defense keeps playing the way they're playing, and once the offense starts clicking, they're going to be very difficult to beat.
Finally, you were always a big fan of Stafford, even when he was in Detroit. I watched him last night, and Jimmy, it's funny.
Well,
you liked him when he. Go ahead.
I can tell you from firsthand experience from Fox NFL Sunday a couple of weeks ago, he throws a nice pass because he threw one to me, and I had to jump I thought it was probably 2 or 3 feet, but it was more like 2 or 3 inches. And I caught his pass on our Fox NFL Sunday show. No, but I love Stafford. Of course, my buddy Terry, Bradshaw has been raving about Stafford, here for years. He said he's got the best throwing motion. He's the best quarterback in the entire league. He loves him. He is really a talented individual.
Yeah. By the way, were you surprised Troy Aikman came out and called the receivers lazy? I mean, there's no BS with him. Were you surprised he did it?
That's Troy. Troy's going to tell you exactly what he thinks, and he's not going to back off. It makes any difference if you're Jerry Jones or you're Jimmy Johnson, you're Mike McCarthy. And Jerry's not going to go against Troy because everybody loves Troy. So, no, that didn't surprise me at all. That's Troy.
Yeah. Great seeing you, Coach. As always, Fox Sports Sunday.
All right, Colin.
All right, take care. Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.